Hello students, in continuity of chapter 14, respiration in plants. During this lecture, we are going to discuss about further steps of aerobic respiration. It is like TCA cycle or Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle, then electron transport system, that is ETS, and oxidative phosphorylation, and amphibolic pathway in detail. Now you know very well, you have studied in previous lecture about aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. What is its basic points? What is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Aerobic respiration takes place in three phases or stages, that is glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and oxidative phosphorylation. We have already discussed about glycolysis process. In higher organisms, in the presence of oxygen, aerobic respiration takes place. Well, these three steps we are going to discuss. In lower organisms, as a part of anaerobic respiration, glycolysis process remains same like aerobic respiration, and then fermentation process takes place. Now you have clear idea about both differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. As a part of aerobic respiration, three steps: glycolysis, TCA cycle, and oxidative phosphorylation. For aerobic respiration to take place within the mitochondria, the final product of glycolysis, pyruvate, is transported from cytoplasm into mitochondria. Crucial events in aerobic respiration, these are complete oxidation of pyruvate by the stepwise removal of all the hydrogen atoms, leaving free molecules of carbon dioxide, CO2. Passing on the electrons removed as part of the hydrogen atoms to molecule O2 with simultaneously synthesis of ATP. Now, what is interesting is that the first process takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria, and the second process is located on the inner membrane of the mitochondria. That is important here. Pyruvate, which is formed by the glycolytic catabolism of carbohydrates in the cytosol, after it enters mitochondrial matrix, undergoes oxidative decarboxylation by a complex set of reactions catalyzed by pyruvic dehydrogenase. Reactions catalyzed by pyruvic dehydrogenase require the participation of several coenzymes also, including NAD+ and coenzyme A. During this process, two molecules of NAD are produced from the metabolism of two molecules of pyruvic acid. It is produced from one glucose molecule during glycolysis. Now you know very well about this entire mechanism. Acetyl coenzyme then enters a cyclic pathway, tricarboxylic acid cycle. It is also known as Krebs cycle, commonly known as Krebs cycle, after the scientist Hans Krebs, who first discovered it. So in honor of name of scientist who discovered it first time, it is also known as Krebs cycle. This TCA cycle starts with the condensation of acetyl group with oxaloacetic acid, that is in short known as OAA, and water to yield citric acid. Reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme citrate synthase, and a molecule of coenzyme is released. Citrate is then isomerized to isocitrate. It is followed by two successive steps of decarboxylation, leading to the formation of alpha ketoglutaric acid and then succinyl coenzyme. In the remaining steps of citric acid cycle, succinyl coenzyme is oxidized to OAA, oxaloacetic acid, allowing the cycle to continue. So this way, various step by step this cycle remain continue. During the conversion of succinic coenzyme to succinic acid, a molecule of GTP is synthesized. This is a substrate level phosphorylation. Phosphorylation, it means that addition of phosphate. In a coupled reaction, GTP is converted to GDP with simultaneous synthesis of ATP from ADP. With this also, there are 3 points in the cycle where NAD plus is reduced to NADH and H plus, and 1 point where FAD plus is reduced to FADH2. That is important here, because after that from this molecule actually ATP is synthesized. The continued oxidation of acetyl coenzyme via the TCA cycle, it requires the continued replenishment of this type of oxaloacetic acid, OAA. It's the first member of the cycle. It is considered as the first member of this cycle. In addition, it also requires regeneration of NAD plus and FAD plus from NADH and FADH2 respectively, we can say here. If we talk about the summary equation for same phase of this cycle, actually it gives clear idea about entire cycle in the form of summary from equation form, that we can say this way: pyruvic acid plus 4-NAD plus FAD plus 2H2 plus ADP plus inorganic phosphate in mitochondrial matrix. It gives as a product 3CO2, 4-NADH, 4H plus, FADH2 and ATP. So, by studying this equation, actually it's a summary equation for this phase of respiration, we can study this way. It gives us clear idea about the substrate required for the cycle, and at the end of entire reaction, okay, products achieved during this cycle. Now let's study figure which gives clear idea about TCA cycle, citric acid cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle, Krebs cycle. Here in this figure you can see the pyruvic acid molecule enter the cycle, is combined with acetyl coenzyme. Okay. During this meanwhile reactions take place, NAD is converted into NADH, this reaction take place here. Then oxaloacetic acid and acetyl coenzyme combine, citric acid 6 carbon molecule is formed, it is converted into alpha ketoglutaric acid, carbon dioxide is released and NADH2 formed. Further reactions you can see, as we have discussed here in theory also, alpha ketoglutaric acid is converted into succinic acid, CO2 is removed, NADH is formed and GTP is formed meanwhile this reaction. Then succinic acid, it is converted into same 4 carbon malic acid. During this reaction, FAD is converted into FADH2 molecule. In further reaction, this malic acid is converted into OAA, that is oxaloacetic acid, and during this reaction again NAD from NAD to NADH is synthesized. So this way, this figure is giving us clear idea about entire mechanism of this cycle. We can say that glucose has been broken down to release carbon dioxide and 8 molecule of NADH and H plus 2 of FADH2, that is synthesized beside just 2 molecule of ATP in TCA cycle. Now, one important thing here, that is respiration at all, neither O2 has come into the picture till we have studied, and the large number of ATP is also not synthesized. Now, what is the role of the NADH and FADH2, that is for synthesis of ATP? In further reaction, further phase or stage of this aerobic reaction. Now we are going to discuss about ATP synthesis from NADH2 molecule and FADH2 molecule. As a third stage of aerobic respiration, now it's electron transport system. In short, it is also known as ETS. So ETS and oxidative phosphorylation. Electron transport system here during this chain of actually reaction which transport electrons from one place to another, and oxidative phosphorylation means in the presence of oxygen, addition of phosphate. So it's known as oxidative phosphorylation. So as a further step of respiratory process, actually release and utilize the energy stored in NADH plus H molecule as well as FADH2 molecule. This reaction is accomplished when they are oxidized through the electron transport system ETS, and the electrons are passed on to O2, resulting in the formation of H2O. Metabolic pathway through which the electron passes from one carrier to another is called ETS or electron transport system, and it is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane. That is important here. This system, ETS, electron transport system, it is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Electrons from NADH produced in the mitochondrial matrix during citric acid cycle. Now they are oxidized by an NADH dehydrogenase, that is a complex one, and electrons are then transferred to ubiquinone located within the inner membrane. Step-by-step reactions take place during ETS electron transport system. Here, ubiquinone also receives reducing equivalence via FADH2, which is known as complex 2, that is generated during oxidation of succinate in the citric acid cycle. Reduced ubiquinol is then oxidized with the transfer of electrons to cytochrome C via cytochrome BC1 complex, and that is also known as complex 3. Here you can see one by one complex 1, complex 2, complex 3 is formed. This is chain of entire reaction. Cytochrome C is a small protein attached to the outer surface of the inner membrane, and it acts as a mobile carrier for transfer of electrons between complex 3 and complex 4. Complex 4 refers to cytochrome C oxidase complex containing cytochromes A and A3 and 2 copper centers. So this way, step by step, electrons they pass through this system, cytochrome system. By studying this figure, we can come to know exactly about electron transport system. Here you can see various steps take place during this electron transport system one by one. Mitochondrial matrix, then intermembrane space, inner mitochondrial membrane, and matrix part. Clearly you can see here which reaction take place, which type of cytochrome play role, and how these electrons further pass through this system we can understand here. When the electrons pass from one carrier to another via complex 1 to complex number 4 in the electron transport chain, they are coupled to ATP synthase complex number 5 for the production of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. That is important here. In summary equation, we have already discussed about here production of ATP from ADP and PI means inorganic phosphate. Number of ATP molecules synthesized depends on the nature of the electron donor. Oxidation of one molecule of NADH gives rise to 3 molecules of ATP. That is very important to study during this cycle, that one molecule of NADH gives rise to 3 molecules of ATP. Now you can understand how ATP is released or synthesized here. And if we talk about FADH2 molecule, this FADH2 produces 2 molecules of ATP. So that is important here. NADH 1 molecule, it gives 3 molecule of ATP, and FADH2 1 molecule, it gives 2 molecule of ATP. Aerobic process of respiration take place only in the presence of oxygen. As you know very well, in the presence of oxygen only aerobic respiration take place. Role of oxygen is limited to the terminal stage of the process. Yet the presence of oxygen is vital since it drives the whole process by removing hydrogen from the system. Oxygen acts as the final hydrogen acceptor here. Unlike phosphorylation, where it is the light energy that is utilized for the production of proton gradient required for phosphorylation, in respiration it is the energy of oxidation reduction utilized for the same process. That's why for this reason that the process is called oxidative phosphorylation. In the presence of oxygen molecule, addition of phosphate take place, and that's why it is known as oxidative phosphorylation. Now you can clearly understand the entire mechanism of electron transport system, ETS, and oxidative phosphorylation. Now let's compare between oxidative phosphorylation and photophosphorylation. Try to remember where this word you have studied: phosphorylation, oxidative phosphorylation and photophosphorylation. In previous chapter we have already discussed about mechanism of photosynthesis. If we compare both, oxidative phosphorylation, it occurs in respiration process that we have just studied here. During photophosphorylation, that is occur in photosynthesis process. You have clear idea about this, so we can compare this point. Oxidative phosphorylation, here energy of oxidation reduction is used for production of proton gradient required for phosphorylation process. That is important here. Energy of oxidation reduction is used for production of proton gradient required for phosphorylation process. During photophosphorylation, which take place in mechanism of photosynthesis, light energy is utilized for production of proton gradient for phosphorylation. So this way both processes, both are phosphorylation, but one is oxidative phosphorylation and another is photophosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation means phosphorylation in the presence of oxygen which take place during respiration mechanism, and photophosphorylation means phosphorylation in presence of light and which take place during the mechanism of photosynthesis. Now we have already studied about the mechanism of membrane linked ATP synthesis as explained by chemiosmotic hypothesis in previous chapter during photosynthesis process. As mentioned earlier, the energy released during the electron transport system ETS is utilized in synthesizing ATP with the help of ATP synthesis complex 5. This complex consists of two major components, that is F1 and F0. F1 headpiece is a peripheral membrane protein complex and contains the site for synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. That is important here. F1 headpiece is a peripheral membrane protein complex and contains the site for synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. Now what about F0? F0 is an integral membrane protein complex that forms the channel through which protons cross the inner membrane. So now it is clear what is F1, what is F0 here. Passage of protons through the channel is coupled to the catalyzing site of the F1 component for the production of ATP. For each ADP produced, that is important, for each ATP produced, 2H plus passes through F0 from the intermembrane space to the matrix down the electrochemical proton gradient. So this way the energy released during ETS is used to make ATP with the help of this ATP synthesis, and it is having two major parts known as F1 and F0, and both they are having important role here. Now let's discuss about ATP synthesis in mitochondria by studying this figure. This figure is actually diagrammatic representation of ATP synthesis in mitochondria. Now as you know very well that F0 and F1 particle, these are two actually major component of complex. Here you can see F0 and F1 particles clearly. Intermembrane region, peripheral region here, mitochondrial matrix, outer side, inner mitochondrial membrane, and matrix, three clear cut regions you can see here. Arrangement of F0 and F1 component, clearly now we can understand this arrangement in this mitochondrial membrane system. Here reaction which take place mainly here, ADP is converted into ATP. It's an energy release molecule here. Then we can understand how during this reaction actually ATP is produced. For each ATP produced, 2H plus is through F0 from the intermembrane. That you can see here, for each ATP produced here, 2H plus passes through F0 from the intermembrane space to the matrix down the electrochemical proton gradient. So we can now understand by studying this figure, okay, ATP synthesis in mitochondria clearly. So now all three steps, phases or stages of aerobic respiration now is clear in our mind: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and third one, electron transport system, ETS, and oxidative phosphorylation. So it's about entire mechanism of aerobic respiration. If we talk about the respiratory balance sheet as summary, and we can easily calculate by studying each and every step, glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and ETS. Okay. How many ATP molecules are produced? So it is possible to make this calculation of the net gain of ATP for every glucose molecule oxidized, but in really this can remain only a theoretical exercise. This calculation can be made only on certain assumptions. Some assumptions are done. There is a sequential orderly pathway functioning with one substrate forming the next and with glycolysis, TCA cycle and ETS pathway following one after the another. NADH synthesizing glycolysis is transferred into the mitochondria and undergoes oxidative phosphorylation. Then none of the intermediates in the pathway are utilized to synthesize any other compound. After that, only glucose is being respired. No other alternative substrates are entering in the pathway at any of the intermediary stages. But this kind of assumptions are not really valid in a living system. All pathways work simultaneously and do not take place one after another. Substrate enter the pathways and are withdrawn from it as when necessary. ATP is utilized as and when it is required, when it is needed. Enzymatic rates are controlled by multiple means, so it is also important. So yet it is useful to do this exercise to appreciate the beauty and efficiency of the living system in extraction of storing energy. In short, there can be net gain of 38 ATP molecules during aerobic respiration of one molecule of glucose. That is important here. What is product? It can be net gain of 38 ATP molecules during aerobic respiration of one molecule of glucose. Now what about fermentation and aerobic respiration? We can also compare. Fermentation accounts for only a partial breakdown of glucose, not complete breakdown of glucose, where in aerobic respiration it is completely degraded to CO2 and H2O. So it is a complete breakdown of glucose molecule. In fermentation, there is a net gain of only 2 molecules of ATP for each molecule of glucose degraded to pyruvic acid, but many more molecules of ATP are generated under aerobic respiration, as we know now that 38 ATP molecules are produced. NADH is oxidized to NAD plus rather slowly in fermentation, but reaction is very vigorous in case of aerobic respiration. So now we can understand what is the difference between aerobic respiration and fermentation. Amphibolic pathway. Glucose is a favored substrate for respiration. We know very well now. All carbohydrates are usually first converted into glucose before they are used for respiration purpose. That is important here. All carbohydrates usually converted into glucose before they used for respiration. Other substrates can also be respired, as they have been mentioned. We have heard proteins also, fats or lipids also, and some organic acids also, but then they do not enter the respiratory pathway at the first step. We can study by this afterwards figure also. Fats would need to be broken down into glycerol and fatty acids first. If fatty acids were to be respired, they would be first be degraded to acetyl coenzyme and enter the pathway. Glycerol would enter the pathway after being converted to PGLEL, but directly they can enter the pathway. If we talk about proteins here, proteins would be degraded by the proteases and the individual amino acids after deamination process. Depending on their structure, they would enter the pathway at some stage with the Krebs cycle or even as a pyruvate or acetyl coenzyme. Respiration involves breakdown of substrates. The respiratory process has traditionally been considered a catabolic process, and it means degradatory process, and the respiratory pathway as a catabolic pathway. But that is interesting here understanding what is correct about this. We have discussed that the which points the respiratory pathway different substrate would enter if they were to be respired and used to derive energy. What is important to recognize is that it is thus very compounds that would be withdrawn from the respiratory pathway for the synthesis of the said substrate. Fatty acids would be broken down to acetyl coenzyme before entering the respiratory pathway when it is used as a substrate. But when the organism needs to synthesize fatty acid, acetyl coenzyme would be withdrawn from the respiratory pathway for it. So this way it is interesting to understand about amphibolic pathway. Breaking down a process within living organisms, that is degradatory processes, not synthetic one. They are known as catabolism, and synthetic processes where something is synthesized is known as anabolism or anabolic processes. So, respiration is an amphibolic pathway, we can say now. During this respiration process, the respiratory pathway comes into the picture both during breakdown and synthesis of fatty acids. Similarly, if we talk about protein, also respiratory intermediates from the link breaking down a process within the living organism is catabolism and synthesis is anabolism. So because the respiratory pathway is involved in both anabolism and catabolism, it would hence be better considered as a respiratory pathway, amphibolic pathway. Generally we understand what it is a catabolic process, degradatory process, but now we can understand why it should be known as amphibolic pathway, because the respiratory pathway is involved in both anabolism and catabolism. So it is better to consider the respiratory pathway as amphibolic pathway. Now let's understand the interrelationship among metabolic pathways showing respiration mediated breakdown of different organic molecules to CO2 and H2O. Now we have clear idea about aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration, various phases involved during this mechanism of respiration. In this chart, you can understand when various respiratory substrates pass through various systems, how further process take place regarding respiration mechanism. You can see here fats, carbohydrates and protein, all three type of biomolecules. Further reaction take place, fat is converted into fatty acid and glycerol, then dihydroxyacetone phosphate, further conversion take place, pyruvic acid is formed and it enters the Krebs cycle, and further reactions take place as we have discussed earlier. What about carbohydrates? They are generally converted into sugars, glucose, then further conversion take place, glucose 6 phosphate, fructose 6 phosphate, that is glycolysis process, and then pyruvic acid enters the Krebs cycle. Then what about proteins? They are converted into amino acid and then it passes through this pathway, conversion of pyruvic acid and further Krebs cycle. So this way, if we talk about different type of respiratory substrate biomolecules which are involved during the process of respiration, they show this type of interrelationship among metabolic pathway and respiratory mediated breakdown of different organic molecules to CO2 and H2O. And then to study respiratory quotient that we have already discussed earlier also in the beginning of this chapter, it is important to study here also. During aerobic respiration, O2 is consumed and CO2 is released. The ratio of the volume of CO2 evolved to the volume of O2 consumed in respiration is called respiratory quotient or RQ, that we have already discussed earlier also. It is also known as respiratory ratio. By understanding the formula, we can say RQ is equal to volume of CO2 evolved upon volume of O2 consumed. That is important here. RQ is volume of CO2 evolved upon volume of O2 consumed. RQ or respiratory quotient depends upon the type of respiratory substrate used during respiration mechanism. It may be carbohydrate, protein or fat. When carbohydrates are used as a substrate and are completely oxidized, RQ will be 1. That is important. Carbohydrate RQ will be 1 because equal amount of CO2 and O2 are evolved and consumed. So ratio remains 1. Okay. When fats are used for respiration, RQ is less than 1. The calculation we can make for fatty acid tripamide using this type of formula. If we talk about tripamidine, RQ is equal to 102 CO2 upon 145 O2, that is 0.7. So it is less than 1. When proteins are respiratory substrate, the RQ ratio would be about 0.9. So for carbohydrates 1, for fats less than 1, and for proteins that is 0.9. So that is important to study here. For living organism, the respiratory substrates are often more than 1. Pure proteins or fats, they are never used as respiratory substrate. So this way entire mechanism of respiration take place in plants.